His Excellency, Honorable Mr. V.K. Patnaik, Anglo Sikh, ladies and gentlemen.
If you can't hear in the back, please make noise. They'll kiss the mic.
It's a proud moment for me to be the moderator for this session. The Anglo Sikh wars were fought. The first one was fought in 1845-1846, and the second one 1848-1849. The first Anglo Sikh war is a remarkable war in history because it is the only war where the generals betrayed their own army. The treachery of General Tej Singh and General Lal Singh runs far too deep, and many historians have not fully acknowledged them. In a way, these generals wanted the destruction of the Sikh army. The Sikh army crossed the Satluj on the 11th of December 1845. The immediate provocation was that a British officer had seized two villages south of the Satluj near Ludhiana, which fell under the control of the Lahore kingdom. So they crossed over, and General Lal Singh, who was one of the commanders, writes to Major Broadfoot, the British officer closest to him, I'm crossing the Satluj. What should I do? And the Major replies, whatever you do, don't invade Firozpur. The British army, that's the Bengal army, as it was called in those days, was having a garrison of 7,000 troops in Firozpur. And the Sikh army comprised 5 divisions. Of strength was 8,000 to 12,000. Historians say it was about 40,000 strong, but it was more than that. An attack on Firozpur would have gained them control of that garrison in a matter of 4 to 6 hours. But instead, they go on a defensive deployment, ostensibly for the reason that they will fight the main body of forces coming under the command of General Gough, the Commander-in-Chief, and Sir Henry Harding. Friends, before we go into their treachery further, I want to say one thing. Sir Henry Harding was Governor General. He was a professional soldier. He had just been promoted as Lieutenant General prior to coming to India in 1844. And Sir Henry Harding agreed to take the battlefield under the command of General Gough, waiving his overall right to be Commander-in-Chief. Just as a matter of aside, before I get more into the treachery part, this war has also given rise to a famous legend, the first Anglo Sikh war, famous legend in Punjab, the legend of the Tundalat. Now, who was Tundalat? Sir Henry Harding was the Tundalat. He lost his left hand in the Battle of Linning 2 days prior to the Battle of Waterloo. A crushed stone hit by a shell, a crushed stone landed on his left hand, and it had to be amputated. When the Sikhs saw how he rallied his forces, especially in the Battle of Firoz Shahar, they were amazed. They could recognize that he is the Lord, and they gave rise to this. Until date in Punjab it is said, Nai Rees Tundalat. It is said with great pride and respect for an opponent. Coming back to the treachery of General Lal Singh and General Tej Singh, both of them exposed their position to Maharani Jinnah. The Lahore Darbar, after the death of Maharaja Ranjit Singh on 27th of June 1839, fell into disarray. There was such treachery, deceit, and mind-boggling, blood-curdling cruelty. One after the other, the sons of Maharaja Ranjit Singh died. In fact, Naunihal Singh, the grandson of Ranjit Singh, died while coming back from the funeral of his father. An archway in Lahore fell over him. Many people say that was contrived. Maharaja Sher Singh had a policy of laissez-faire towards his army, and he ruled for 2 years pretty effectively, but he was killed by a cousin of his at point blank range. He was reaching out for a shotgun, and then the gentleman fired on him. I am withholding his name, it's a very famous name, because I don't want to give right to unnecessary controversy. Coming back to the reception, General Tej Singh, and he was the commander-in-chief. Under him, the Battle of Firoz Shahar was fought. General Lal Singh had conspired with the British along with General Tej Singh, and see how deep it runs. But for that treachery and betrayal, the Sikhs would not have lost the Anglo Sikh War, the first Sikh War, because they went in defensive deployment, and when they carried it, first battle was at Mutki, very sharp battle, on the 18th of December. Second battle is fought at Firoz Shahar. Now this battle of Firoz Shahar is a unique battle, because the side that won, its general deserted it next morning. It went late into the night. And the Sikh army, when they unleashed their artillery, they split the British army, the British Indian army, into two. The right flank of the British army under General Duff had to take defensive position, and the left flank was being commanded by Sir Henry Harding. And in the early hours of the next day, Sir Henry Harding asked his ADC to bring out his ceremonial sword. And when he saw the sword, it was muggy. He says, polish it. The Sikhs will laugh at us. He was intending to hand over the sword the next morning as a surrender. My friends, historians haven't realized how far this treachery runs. If that surrender had taken place at Firoz Shahar, the Lahore Darbar would have remained intact, and the outcome of history would have been different. I dare say the state of Pakistan would never have come into existence if that treachery of General Tej Singh and Lal Singh hadn't actually taken place. Now, we have a unique opportunity to hear a historian of eminence, and I'm referring to Mr. Amarpal Singh, who's sitting to my right. He has written a seminal work on the first Anglo Sikh War. This is the book. Now, he's followed it up with the second Anglo Sikh War with a foreword by Maharaja Sahib, Honorable Chief Minister of Punjab, Captain Amarinder Singh. These books, ladies and gentlemen, are available, fresh edition, in all over, and I can vouch for it that each word is priceless here. Why? And I will ask him, before I give him the mic, I will ask him to lay out that also. He will talk not only about the wars, about the fierce battles, but he will also tell us how he did his research. And this is unique. He has visited those battlefields. They lie in present-day Punjab. The battlefields of Mutki, Firoz Shahar, the encounters at Aliwal and Badhoa. I would very much like him to share with us that aspect also, because he's brought Google into play. He's actually seen the present-day locations. Of course, several houses have come up on those battlefields, which was originally a jungle. He's been able to identify some foxholes, some trench lines. So, these words, I hand over the mic to Mr. Amarpal.